I didn't eat for 16 days. No food, no coffee even. It was the very beginning of my path to lose 140 pounds and to lead the Eat Like a Bear community. Anyone looking to lose weight should definitely watch some of my other videos. But today I talk more about the psychological and the spiritual side of that 16-day water fast. The aspects of it that I brought into my life when I do short extended fasts these days. I record this in January. It is a season of religious fasts. Daniel fasts are very popular now. Whether you're doing this for weight loss, psychological reasons, or spiritual reasons, I have some thoughts on mindset for you. Now keep in mind, my PhD is in political science. I am not a medical doctor, nor am I a doctor of divinity, but I am opinionated, as you will see. And there are definitely things we can learn from that long old 16-day fast I went on way back in the fall of 2017. In my prior video, I make a big point about fasting and then eating and making sure your eating is on point. From my fast, I launched into a one-day a meal model. It was carb-minded, calorie-minded. It drove a flippin' amount of weight loss. I direct you to that content. I compare the case of my dad who went on multiple 40-day fasts for religious reasons and just gained the weight back like that. Something else that was different between my dad and I and our approach to fasting. I rested, he worked his tail off. I want to say a bit about this because it does impact the mindset message that I have. Now, first of all, people often ask if they can do this while they are working. If I was working while I did my 16-day fast, you guys, I totally rested the whole time. In fact, I cleared the slate for the entire month of September of 2017. I told my kids, Mama's services are closed. They were old enough to be able to make themselves a sandwich. I rested. More on that. But in contrast, my dad, he was working full time and he had other commitments. He really worked his tail off through that 40-day fast. It's really kind of extraordinary. And I find that people tend to choose one or the other. You can handle either one. They're both beneficial in their own ways, but that hard-working approach my dad took allowed him to kind of put his brain onto something else. And he was able to just grind through that for 40 days, as he said, taking it one day at a time. So that is definitely an option. In my life, I was able to take the time off. I am so grateful for that. I got so much rest. It was really fairly extraordinary. I can see a path where you are working hard. Your mind is off the food. And when you break the fast, you break it in a way that's mindful of the new habits that you need to begin to form. That could be a very powerful model. But I took the other path, and I will say more about that because I think it also relates a little more to the spirit of the Daniel fast in this season. So I rested. And when you're resting, you tend to be very contemplative. But what is it that we're contemplating? As I reflect on this, I do think it's important to have a positive outlook, a positive vision of the future as we are there resting in our contemplation. So in some religious traditions and cultures, and even some of our own little social structures and social cultures, there is a mindset of penance and sacrifice, like the days of self-flagellation where people would whip themselves to sort of repent of their sins. It happens in weight loss too. We carry so much shame and regret. We carry fear. Maybe we have a negative health diagnosis. We live in fear. And those kinds of emotions are the things that take up our mind as we're fasting. That penance, that shame as it relates to food, as it relates to other things in our lives. And I want to make the strong point that in my 16 days of fasting, my outlook and my focus was maybe surprisingly, predominantly positive, very forward-looking, very grateful about what I have, very grateful about what I was about to have, about the journey that I was on. It wasn't this looking back in shame. It wasn't this kicking myself over past decisions. It was all forward-looking and positive. My goal was to be able to get out and hike with my son. I was limping around due to a knee injury. I wasn't living in the pain and the shame of that injury, of all of my excess body weight. I was focused on that positive vision of hiking. From a religious perspective, we can also focus so much on the past, so much on that shame. Why not focus on the creations of God and the universe and what it holds for you in your amazing future? That's something that rest really allows you to do. Live in that gratefulness. Have music on that reinforces it. Documentaries, movies, photos. Keeping that mindset always positive. And something interesting happened in my case from a weight loss point of view, as I had that amazing positive goal out there in front of me, and then I began to eat. This, supporting that amazing positive future, looked great. It was on point and it was getting there. I was very happy and satisfied with this approach because I knew that with this approach, I was going where my heart was taking me. Okay, so in the case of my dad, who's working hard, just grinding through those 40 days, his mind is probably shut off of a lot of this and he's really focused on his projects. Me laying there for 16 days, contemplative and reflective, I am reflecting on my positive future and it ultimately reinforces the path that I go down. I also rested. I needed a lot of rest. My body needed rest. It was doing a lot of hard work in all those days. I am sure that for anyone who can take the time off and focus and be contemplative in a very positive, forward-looking way, that is going to be an amazing experience. Now, 16 days is so outrageously extreme, so let me just address that a moment as I do in the other video. These days, I do occasional extended fasts, and not for weight loss as much as so much to kind of reset. So in times when I get extra stressed, I'm extra tired from having been all busy from doing all these projects, sometimes I just need to be still. I need to take the time. I need to be contemplative. That is when I actually choose to do a fast. It is typically like a 72-hour fast, which is 2 days without eating. I find that in my case, that gives me a nice break, a nice time to relax and rest and be contemplative and to focus on my positive future. Guys, we live in so much shame and regret as it is. Take a break from that. God, a universal power, God doesn't want you focused on shame and regret. Let's focus on the amazing creation that is this universe. And as a side note, shame never serves us in any way, in any shape, in any form. I see people coming into the Eat Like a Bear community having great success in weight loss and then having a stumbling block. Maybe they gain half the weight back, maybe they gain it all back and then disappear in shame. Don't ever disappear from us and don't ever feel shame about gaining the weight back. I gained the weight back many, many, many times until I didn't. I certainly know how easy it is. And so on an extended fast, I would say rest if you can. Set all of your structures up for a positive, forward-looking mindset. And whether you're resting or you're working during your fast, set your intention to break your fast in the way that is going to support your positive habits that you are developing and your positive, forward-looking life.